This is Starlight G recording. This is not a live video of this speaker because the subwoofer is behind, well, on the one side of my keyboard stand, so I can't really take pictures of it, but I have pictures of it on my other computer. So this is a still picture video of my very first subwoofer. This is more of a small cabinet, but it's got the same driver speaker that one of my big ones has. And I'm going to read off the data sheet. Okay, this subwoofer and the other lowrider, these are the specs of the speaker. I had to special order these speakers because on the Peavey site they only list the 8 ohm version, but this is the 4 ohm version. This is the 4 ohm version of the speaker. Okay. This is the 18 lowrider subwoofer Black Widow speaker. Impedance is 4 ohms. Power capability of 3200 watts peak, 1600 watts program. But here's the real wattage. It's 800 watts continuous power. I know they round it off as 98 decibels, but it's 97.3 with 1 watt driven. Usable frequency range 25 hertz to 1K, and the cone is Kevlar impregnated cellulosive, and then the voice coil diameter is 4 inches or 100 millimeters. The net weight is 22 pounds. I'm not going to read everything, but when when it comes to watts, you always want to look at the continuous wattage, and the subwoofer is only half the size as my 2 big ones. It's just as deep from front to back, 2 feet, but it's also 2 feet wide and 5 feet high. This speaker cabinet is not going to hit the very, very lows like my 2 big ones do, but if the speaker probably goes down to 25 hertz, probably doesn't go down much lower than that with a cabinet that size. I think you have to have double the mass to get, if you want to get down to 7 hertz, like my big ones do. And the difference about this cabinet, besides it's only half as wide, it has 3 same size ports but there's no back port like the one big one I made. And then I have pictures of what the speaker looks like and what the basket looks like. Then the crossover is made by Eminence. I'm not sure what the wattage is on those crossovers, but I guarantee it's over 500 watts or more. And it's crossover at 250 hertz. And that's a passive crossover. And I use drain pipes, fittings as the ports on this one. The ports are about 6 inches across. It puts out a lot of sound, but my two big subs go down much slower. I bet it has an extra octave lower than this subwoofer cabinet, but it carries the bass guitar range good, and the pictures you see, I didn't have a low rider speaker right when I start building this cabinet. That came later. And I start building this around 2018. That's when I start building this cabinet. It's got heavy bracing, pretty much like the other one. And the main board that the speaker mounts on is 3/4 inch, not quite an inch. And I show pictures how I built the cabinet. And you see pictures where it's all done. Then I put big metal grills on the front so you don't accidentally damage the speaker. And all my speakers are built this way. And then there's pictures of the Speakon speaker jacks that I use. They're the 40 amp variety, and they're a 4 conductor. But I'm only using pin, terminal 1 and 2. I'm not using the second pair. And I try to use between 12 to 14 gauge speaker wire. And then I use those terminal lugs that plug right into the crossover. You want to use heavy wire, especially if you're running like 800 watts continuous power. I'm pretty much that. I'm not quite using quite 800 watts, but it's close to it. And the picture you see here is actually not the speaker that is in it now. There was another subwoofer speaker that I had just for temporary testing, but I decided to use the Peavey brand because it's easy to get And besides, if you burn out the voice coil, you can always get a replacement basket, they call it. So that's why I went with this brand. But I don't crank it up anyway. And I made these subwoofers mainly for my home theater. And I did tell the story about I was watching a Star Wars movie, and I was talking about they had like this 1940s type jet that they used in the movie on one of the latest Star Wars movies they made. And I was watching it, and when that plane landed, it actually made me jump out of the couch. But that was because of those big other subwoofers. But I imagine this one puts a lot too. Oh yeah, also, I use all metal construction jack plates, you know, where the connectors mount onto. And all these speakers have casters on, in case I have to move them for some reason. Otherwise, it takes two people to lift all these cabinets. And these speakers are very musical. And I'm showing pictures of the different components that I use, how I built it, and it's hard to tell, you know, what it sounds like. You have to be there in person to experience how much air all three subwoofers put out. The two big ones at the front are much lower and louder, but this speaker is louder on the upper bass than it is on the lower bass. And if you see on the baskets on these pictures, these are the 8 ohm versions, but mine are the 4 ohm versions, and those are a special order item from Peavey Electronics. I'm not sure where these were made at. I don't even know where it says that. I don't think it says where it's made at. But let me tell you, these speakers put out a lot of sound for what they are. Another reason I went with these type of speakers, the accordion type, because the foam surround will not deteriorate, and plus they put out more decibels than your regular speakers that you buy. But this is my video from Starlight G Recording.